Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I'm James Powell. I serve as co-chair of the NumFOCUS board, together with Dr. Lorena Barba, and I also serve as vice president of PyData. As vice president of PyData, I have purview over all PyData meetups and conferences worldwide. It is my absolute pleasure to bring you this discussion with Michael Koenig, VP of Product Development from BlueYonder. As part of PyData Global, we wanted to reach out to each one of our sponsors and give them a moment to talk about why they use Python, why they're invested in the PyData stack, why it is that they've chosen to give back not only to PyData, not only to NumFOCUS, but to the broader open source ecosystem and community.
Hi, PyData community. I'm Michael. I'm Vice President Product Development at BlueYonder. I got a PhD in physics, but I really love coding. And I started using Python a couple of years ago, and I really enjoy coding Python, even though today I'm a manager and I'm more into Excel. BlueYonder is a company that's working on the autonomous supply chain. That means making decisions every day, what kind of products to produce, to transport where, to put it into the stores with ideal quantities so that we can eliminate food waste for the planet and deliver great value to the customers.
Is BlueYonder hiring? In what roles and in what regions?
BlueYonder is always hiring, and the roles, they range from software engineers, data scientists, non-technical roles in around marketing, management, also technical management, obviously. And you can find us basically around the globe, in the US, at Dallas, for example, or at Scottsdale, in Monterrey, in Mexico. You can find us in Europe, in the UK, and in Germany. We have a great presence in India as well. So basically, wherever you are, it's possible to work for BlueYonder.
How long have you been VP of product at BlueYonder?
I've been VP for about 2 years, and before that, I spent around 6 years being a software engineer, and 1 more year being an entry-level manager.
What is your favorite community-driven open source project? What excites you the most about recent developments in the PyData stack?
So I think my favorite project that we use would be Dask, because it brings pandas to the next level, to the next scale. We're no longer limited by just a notebook or a really big machine that's really expensive on a cloud provider of your choice, and it makes it still makes all the data accessible through a Jupyter notebook, which is really convenient. I think it should be used more, and I think we're one of the power users of Dask, and really getting the system to its extremes, and challenging stability and performance. And it's also nice to engage with the authors of that one, and we've made some contributions to that one.
So tell me, which BlueYonder supported open source project are you most proud of? Which project do you think will have the most impact on the industry?
So referring to my earlier answer, that I think this scale out will be important. I would say Cartothek is like the most interesting one, because it tries to solve the problem: how can I maintain large tabular data with very reasonable costs in a cloud infrastructure, while still being able to manage consistency of your data set. So it provides you with easy access on multiple cloud stores. So I think that's really cool, and to see how it will interact with the other tools in the environment. So that's one. The other one is TurboDBC, which is an ODBC bridge for Python. So you can basically use it with any database that provides an ODBC driver. And ODBC is not like the selling point, but it's attempting to use binary data in the inside and trying to expose the binary data to Python users as NumPy arrays and PyArrow tables.
Michael, I'm really glad that we had this opportunity to do this profile of BlueYonder. I know BlueYonder I know BlueYonder's name since you've been a regular, committed sponsor of other PyData conferences, such as PyData Berlin. I think people would like to know what drives BlueYonder's commitment, consistent commitment to supporting the open source ecosystem and to supporting specifically PyData and NumFOCUS.
So I think it's the people at BlueYonder who drive this first and foremost. The engineers that we have, they're passionate about the craft. They are passionate about the tools that they use, and they also like to share. Many of us have a background from university. We have both collaboration and competition. And it's similar in the open source community. Everybody's helping out each other, but still there's some projects doing the same things. So it's friendly competition. And when you go to a conference in the open source community, it's very similar than to going to a scientific conference. So that's nice, and we value that we can constantly exchange with experts in the fields. We know that there's people out there who can build the software that we need much better than we can do on a non-core business domain at least. We like that we can give something back to the community, and it's not about just taking and saying it's free lunch. No, we also give back. We contribute patches. We contribute some open source tools ourselves, and it's also a great way to to showcase our engineers when they have a significant portfolio. When you can look up their videos on YouTube when they spoke at PyCon Germany, for example. So that's really fun to see. And in the past, we've also took great time and put it into organizing conferences. So PyCon Germany 2017 and 2018 has been co-organized by some of the people who work for me. We usually or we often host meetups in and around data science or Python topics. We provide our office locations and make sure there's sufficient beer and pizza. And that's it's just sometimes it's the highlight of the week, really, when you go to such a meetup and you engage with other engineers and you have a contact to the technology. That's really nice, and it never gets old. And it personally, I know that working on open source projects can be really rewarding. And if you look at GitHub and you see that people are actually using what you coded, that's nice. That's really engaging and motivating. And that's how we like our engineers to be engaged and motivated. And open source is one of the best ways to achieve that.
Understanding that choice of language and choice of tools can be very specific. I want to hear a little bit about why you chose Python and how that's worked out for you. What excites you about the Python community? What specifically excites you about Python's use for data engineering and data science?
That's a really good question, and I'm very glad that this is a virtual forum, because I have to confess that originally I did not like Python at all, and I was more of a C++ guy. You have those types, you have those compilers, and they protect you. At least that's what I thought in the beginning. But as a company, we realized in 2012, 2013, that it's not easy to get developers really productive with C++. We took a look at Python during the time frame 2012, 2013, when it was not like the most hyped language on the planet. And we found that it's really great because the syntax is really nice, easy to pick up. You can write glue code without thinking too much. It's not that bad if you have a dynamic type system and duck typing. It actually works. And like the number one worry that we had was performance. But at the time when we had a look at Python, we already had NumPy and pandas, and that basically solved the problem. So it doesn't really matter if the glue code is running slow, when the glue code is just 20 operations and the whole mathematical things in the background are some optimized C library. And And that really boosted the data science that we could do. I think at the time it was a gamble, and the Python community really delivered, and we never looked back. This was an excellent decision for us.
In terms of room for improvement or room for growth, what pain points do you have in your stack? Are there any things that you wish the Python community might focus more on? Any issues that you feel need a little bit more attention to suit the needs of BlueYonder?
So I guess one of the key things that we struggle with is stability and performance. That can be a challenge. This is not something that is intrinsic to Python or any of the open source projects. It's just that sometimes the degree at which we use these projects is not what the original authors intended. So we're really pressing things against the limits and sometimes beyond that. The second thing, I guess, where we sometimes struggle with Python is that there's many competing things and competing standards, also in terms of types. So previous version of pandas, they did not really have nullable types in a way that that you would probably design it today, and I think they're fixing that.
The extension array.
That's true, and there's many conversions if you go from one library to the others, and they're not all always intercompatible, or it just needs that extra conversion step. That is simple to write down, but still you have to think about it.
Michael, is there anything you'd like to say to the PyData global community? Anything you'd like to share with them about BlueYonder, about PyData, the community, the conference, or about open source in general?
So if you're watching this video, I think you're doing many things right, not because you're watching me, but you're engaging with the community. So keep up that great work. Keep on building your profile so that you remain interesting for companies such as BlueYonder, because we're always looking for experts and passionate people who live and breathe coding every day and who are open for a technical challenge. So keep up the great work. Keep on contributing. It's amazing what you do every day. Also, in your free time and weekends with families, really appreciate that. And that's also why we're giving back.
So thank you everybody for joining us for this PyData Global sponsor interview. I'm James Powell. I want to thank Michael Koenig, Vice President of Product Development from BlueYonder, for joining us today. Really interesting to hear about how BlueYonder engages with the open source community. This really is a model for how other organizations can make sure that they have their impact felt, but also deliver things that are useful for them internally. Thank you so much, Michael, and thank you all for watching.
Thanks, James, for having me, and enjoy the conference.